This download is the only extract the BBC has of this edition of Desert Island Discs. The presenter was Roy Plumley.
What part of the country do you come from?
I was born at Birkenhead, on Merseyside.
Yes. Did you show a talent for drawing when you were very small indeed?
Well, I can't remember a time in my life when I didn't draw. I didn't notice the fact that I could draw so much as was a little astounded to find that other people couldn't.
Was there any artistic talent in your family?
None that I know of at all, no.
Did they encourage you?
Yes, but I think they tended to regard me rather as someone who could walk a tightrope, a sort of oddity.
Were you well taught in art at school?
I wasn't taught at all. I went to a grammar school where they, again, regarded art as rather a suspicious kind of thing. And I recall that just before I left, they built a new school without an art room.
Really? What happened to you when you left school? What was your first job?
My first job was as a junior clerk in cattle and poultry food manufacturers in Liverpool.
Yes. This was about the beginning of the war, wasn't it?
This was just at the beginning of the war. I left school in 1939 and started work in 1939.
Yes. So that meant fire watching and all that sort of thing?
Oh, indeed, yes. The whole of my first job I think of in terms of standing terrified on the roof while Liverpool was burning.
And then you joined the army?
Yes, I went into the army when I was 18.
What happened to you in khaki?
Well, I really didn't mind what I went in, Army, Navy or Air Force. The only thing I didn't want to do was be an infantryman with a bayonet.
Yes,
and, of course, that's what I was immediately sent to a infantry training centre at Lytham St Anne's near Blackpool.
Yes.
And I became an infantryman for 2.5 years with a bayonet.
And then what?
Well, I found that in the army, too, they didn't really like people who had pencils and brushes. I recall once a corporal in the Welsh Guards, I think. We were having a kit inspection, standing by beds, and he noticed a bundle of brushes and pencils sticking out of my kit bag, and he stepped forward smartly, took them up in his hands, and broke them with the air of someone tearing a telephone directory in half.
Yes. He was striking
saying,
a blow for right.
How many Germans do you think you will kill with those? So that there was not a lot of encouragement, but I stuck at it and made a record of all the time I was in the army.
Yes. What got you out of your rut of being an infantryman with bayonet?
Well, for some strange reason, the army decided that I was a potential radio mechanic.
Did you know anything about radio?
Nothing at all.
But nevertheless, you became a mechanic.
I became a mechanic, yes. I suppose I was about the only radio mechanic who really didn't know how to repair a radio.
But you just like listening to it.
Well, that's true.
Where did it take you, that task?
That took me to India.
You worked for a time on the staff of an Indian Army paper, didn't you?
Well, in fact, I was billeted under canvas on the race course at Secunderabad when I looked at daily orders and found a little notice saying anyone who knows about magazine production should report to company office. So I was smartly up to company office.
Did you know anything about magazine production?
Nothing at all. And there was a gentleman with red tabs and a red band round his hat, and he said, "What do you know about it?" And I produced a fistful of sketchbooks and put them on the table without saying anything, and he flipped through them and said, "Pack your kit, you're going to Delhi."
Yes.
And within a matter of 2 or 3 days, I was shown into an office and told that a magazine was to be produced in, I think, about a month.
Mm-hmm. And you were art editor?
Yes, in fact, there were only 2 of us. Luckily, there was a sensible and, in fact, quite brilliant man there who was a Fleet Street journalist, and he knew the editorial side of it, and he helped me enormously.
Yes,
but I simply had to find out, and this was, in a sense, the best training I ever had in my life.
Learning about printing and reproduction?
Oh, yes. I had to learn it all. I jolly well had to.
What was the first thing you ever sold to a British publication?
I sent a terrible drawing based on an Indian subject to London Opinion. And I recall that I had the reply on my birthday. And this was the first acceptance of a drawing by a magazine from Britain.
Well, now, Norman, you were art editor to this Indian Army paper, and you were freelancing for London Opinion. What was the next thing to happen?
Well, oddly enough, I became a kind of unofficial designer of army uniforms for the newly emergent Indian Army.
Really?
Yes, I designed a number of dress uniforms for the Indian Army, and in fact also designed the flag for the new Indian Armoured Corps.
How did that happen?
I really hardly know, except that I had a note from Field Marshal Auchinleck asking me if I would do it.
Yes. Are they still wearing them, as far as you know?
I have no idea. I shouldn't think so.
What happened when you were demobilised? You came back to England?
Yes, and I decided that as I knew nothing about art, perhaps I ought to find out something about it. So I applied for a grant as an ex-army student and went to Liverpool College of Art.
To start right at the bottom.
That's right.
And take it all apart and put it together again.
That's right.
Were you selling work at the same time?
Oh, yes, I was freelancing then.
You started working for Punch very early on, didn't you?
Yes, I started working for Punch round about 1950, I think.
Yes. Was that while you were still at Liverpool?
Immediately after I left Liverpool, I
What
think.
did you do when you left Liverpool?
I went as a teacher of illustration to Wolverhampton College of Art.
Were you a good teacher? Did you like it?
I enjoyed a lot of things about it. I enjoyed the people, I enjoyed the company and the general talk and so on. But I never felt that I was a real teacher. I never felt that it was a vocation. And I couldn't really see myself being a teacher for the rest of my life.
What happened when you gave up teaching?
Well, in fact, I was offered a job out of the blue by News Chronicle.
Yes.
And so I simply went completely freelance. I stopped teaching. And
When did you start drawing those fat little girls on fat ponies?
well, I can't remember the exact date, but it's quite a long time ago. I was doing mainly countryside subjects for Punch, and the pony simply appeared in one as part of the general idea. But it produced an immediate reaction from readers.
Yes.
And I did a second one on the same, basically on the same subject, which had exactly the same result. Then the editor rang me one day and said, "Look, we've had an awful lot of letters about these ponies. Do you think you could do a double-page spread?" And I remember getting in a terrible panic and saying, "But look, I've squeezed the subject dry. I couldn't possibly do a double-page spread." And he said, "Well, try." And I did produce this spread, and, it's simply taken over on its own, really.
Do you find it difficult getting ideas for cartoons? How do you set about it? Do you just roam about waiting for them to hit you, or do you sit and stare at sheets of drawing paper?
I sit and stare at sheets of drawing paper. Occasionally, of course, if an editor says, "Will you do a set of drawings on this subject?" that's surprisingly more easy to follow up, because at least you have a theme.
Yes.
But if you have nothing special, then you have the whole universe to choose from, and it's very difficult then to channel your ideas.
Do you draw from life or from references or out of your head?
Most of the time now I draw from out of my head, as it were, but I have a very good visual memory, and I have spent a great deal of time filling hundreds of sketchbooks with every kind of subject under the sun. But on the other hand, if I have a special subject to do, I am careful to do my homework. I feel that, for example, if one was drawing an Elizabethan galleon, it's not good enough to draw an old boat.
Yes.
I do my homework, and I make sure that it is rigged properly, and the people who know about these things know that this is authentic.
Indeed, you do have that reputation for accuracy. Do you find that the pony cartoons have rather taken over and typecast you?
Well, in the sense that people say, "Ah, hello, you're the pony man." Yes, in that way they do. But in fact, I suppose I still do 20 or 30 drawings of other subjects for every pony drawing I do.
And, of course, you still take time off to paint seriously. You have an exhibition coming up, I believe.
Yes, in London in June.
Splendid.